How's it going, everyone? This is Tom with RedmondPie.com. I'm back today with a hardware comparison between the Nexus 7 II, the second generation, the iPad mini, this is the first generation iPad mini, and also the brand new release today, iPad Air. When you actually take a second to look at it, the iPad Air is pretty much just a scaled up version of the iPad mini. It takes a lot of the design traits, the thinner bezels, the slimmer profile, and converts it into a much larger form factor. So it's only fit that we compare the three. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so as you can see, we do have the iPad Air in front of me. This is an iPad Air. There's a mouse in the top right for a bit of perspective. So if we just go ahead and grab my iPad mini here, and just bring that in from the side and place this over the top, I'm keeping the smart covers on the back of the iPads purely so you can kind of identify a bit easier the edges. So as you can see, you get about an inch roughly on either side. The iPad's a 9.7 inch screen, and the iPad mini is a 7.9 inch screen. Then you get the Nexus 7 II on top, which is a lot thinner than the iPad mini, but it's still in that 7 inch form factor. It actually has a 7.02 inch screen, so it's a lot easier to hold in one hand. And as you can see here, here's perhaps a better representation of how these actually stack up. So you get about an inch of the off the width of the iPad mini on the iPad Air, and then maybe 0.8 of an inch for the Nexus 7 again. In terms of actual usage, this is really nice. The iPad mini is a little bit iffy to hold in one hand, but the Nexus 7 just fits really well, and the iPad Air is definitely a two-handed tablet, though it is lighter now, so it can be used in one hand. In terms of thickness, they're all relatively similar. The iPad mini is the thinnest, the iPad Air then slightly thicker, only about a millimeter in it, and then the Nexus 7 II, again, ever so slightly thicker. But to be honest, I'm even going to just call these almost the same thickness. It's barely noticeable. When you use these, they all feel roughly the same thickness. All of these devices are very, very thin and are a joy to use from that point of view. In terms of weight, the Nexus 7 II is the lightest, coming in at just 290 grams. The iPad mini is next at 308 grams, and the iPad Air at just 469 grams, which, considering the size difference, is actually very, very light, and definitely a huge advantage over the iPad 4. Okay, so talking a little bit about display quality, and I've got them ordered in this direction because the Nexus 7 II blows the competition away with a pixel density of 323 pixels per inch. A full 1080p screen on such a small device, at least in tablet market, means a fantastic screen with fantastic color reproduction. The iPad Air also has a fantastic screen with a pixel density of 264 pixels per inch. We've come to know Apple, their display qualities are always excellent, and then the iPad mini on the end just gets blown out of the water. 163 pixels per inch, very, very low res, not a nice screen to look at text or anything like that at all. As you can see on the iPad mini screen on the right there, you could see pixels on the app icons, it's just not great. On the iPad Air screen here, you can almost see no pixels. Obviously this is through a camera, so it's slightly different to looking at arm's length, which is generally what you do with an iPad. But also on the Nexus 7 II, you just can't really see pixels with the naked eye. The iPad Air and the Nexus 7 II are both fantastic displays, and if you are purely choosing on displays, I would probably go with the Nexus, but that's very, very slight. And then to finish off here, I just want to chat very quickly about build quality. The build quality on all three is very good. I don't feel like the Nexus 7 is going to break, even if it is the quote-unquote budget tablet here. Both iPads are obviously constructed out of aluminium, have a very premium feel. The Nexus 7, on the other hand, has a kind of a soft touch plastic on the back, but again, it feels really nice, and it's literally just a preference thing. If you prefer plastic, if you prefer that kind of feel, I would say go for the Nexus. However, if you do like the aluminium, the feeling of aluminium in your hand, then the iPads are the obvious choice. There we have it, guys. That kind of wraps up this hardware comparison. If you have enjoyed, hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the Redmond Pie YouTube channel. We're going to be pumping out a lot more content. Also, a software kind of speed test between the new iPad Air and the Nexus 7 and more. So definitely subscribe for that, and we will catch you in the next one.